Hi class, I hope you're doing well and you're getting some work done. I wanted to make this video and I want to try to keep it as short as I can to give you some idea on how to work this problem out and I can work it out for you. That's not a big deal. But what I don't want is for you to feel like you're just completely stuck and really don't have a clue on how to work this out. And so you're supposed to write a program that asks the user for a word, and the user will enter a word. So right here, like the user entered cat, and then if you enter a word, you should print this statement. You entered cat, and notice that you have the number 1 and a colon, and then you ask for another word, and in this case iguana, and so you print the same thing, and the difference being here that now you have a number 2, and you print the word that was entered, iguana, and then zebra and dolphin, until the word stop, all caps, is entered. At which point, if you enter the word stop, you print all done, because you're stopping your program, and then you print the number of words that were entered, not counting stop. So you entered 4 words: cat, iguana, zebra, and dolphin. And so let me walk you through this. If you haven't already, please download and install Python and Wing. I have a video on how to do that. You know what? I may have not put that in the announcements now that I'm thinking back, because I know I did it for my principles class, but I'll make sure that I post that video on the Google Classroom so you can see the video and install. Now you don't have to. You can use this code sculpture. You can use that to code, and it would be the same thing. So you're, by all means, do this if you want. Use this. Just like, let me show you what that would look like if you do print, and we've done print a number of times. So enter a word. It's just a simple print statement, and then you run, and it shows the code. It runs the code right here on this output window. So you can use this by all means. Actually, if you feel more comfortable doing this, go ahead. I'm going to use Wing, which is what we've used in class, but understand that it's the same thing. Now what you want to do is you want to replicate this. And when I say replicate, you want to replicate everything. If there's a colon, you want the colon to be there. If there's a space, you want the space to be there. Numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, you want those to be there. Everything has to be the exact same, because when you turn in your code, it's looking for an exact match. And if you don't have an exact match, you won't get a correct answer. Okay, so first let's remind ourselves how we allow for user input. Now, I'm gonna say already that I need 2 variables. One of the variables is gonna contain the word. So like a variable, we're gonna store the word cat, iguana, zebra, dolphin, and stop. We're gonna store those in a variable called the word. And then we need another variable to keep count of how many words we've entered. And so if I open Wing, let me see here. I think I may have already named this. Okay, so let me delete this. We'll start from the very beginning. Again, you want everything to be the exact same. So just starting with this simple command. If I run this, you'll see that, well, I misspelled the word input. If I run this, you'll see that when Python runs, it's waiting for me to enter something. So I'll put here cat. Okay, now notice how I've replicated the exact same line here, and it has to be exactly the same with the colon and with the space right there. How do I get that space in between the colon and the word cat? I do it by putting a space right there, because if I don't include that space, and if I run this, you'll notice that it's gonna the cursor right here is gonna be right after the colon. And you don't, when you enter the word cat, you do not want to enter the word cat by first hitting the space bar and then putting cat. You just want to put cat. And so you needed that space there, like that. Okay, so I know this is a way to enter to ask the user for a value. So please enter the next word, and then whatever the user enters is going to be stored in this variable. Now, initially, well, I guess there's a few things here. I'm going to make another variable called count, and this is counting how many words have been entered. Initially, it's going to be 0. Now, the objective here is for you to use a loop to keep asking. You don't want to, for example, you don't want to do this. And this could work in theory, but it would not work for every scenario. So let me just copy in so you can see it. Now, right here, you'll notice that I've given basically, I have 4 print statements, 4 input statements, or 4 input commands. And so if I run this, I could put here cat, and then iguana, and zebra, and dolphin. And so that works. But we don't want to write 4 input commands. What we want to do is put this statement, this, inside a loop. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these, and I'm going to use a while loop. You can use a for loop, but I think it's a little bit more appropriate to use a while loop. While word is not equal, the exclamation mark means not equal to the string stop, all caps. Again, it is important that you address the problem statement exactly as it says right here. We are told that we need to enter the word stop, all caps. And so I'm going to put here, while word is not equal to stop, ask for a new word and increment the count. Now there's a few things that I need to do here. Initially, I'm going to say that word is an empty string, meaning there's nothing there. By the way, when we come to this point right here, word is an empty string. It is not equal to stop. And so while this condition is true, while word is not equal to stop, let's ask for a word. Now, I know that if we enter a word that is something like cat or iguana or zebra, that we don't want to stop. We want to continue asking. And so I'm going to, and we want to increment our count by 1. We want to count any word that is not stop. We want to count it. So I'm going to say if the word, notice right here that word is going to be whatever the user enters. So word is going to equal whatever is inputted by the user. So the first word in this scenario would be cat. If word is, again, not equal to stop, again, we need the colon right there. We need that. Make sure you have the colon after the while and after the if. And anything inside the if statement needs to be indented. So I'm going to say, okay, word is empty, an empty string. So we start with an empty string. Count is 0. And while word is not equal to stop, we're going to repeat these lines of code. We're going to ask for a word. So suppose that the user enters cat, and so word is cat. If word is not equal to stop, so cat does not equal stop, count the word. So we're going to increase count by 1. And then we want to print, and this is where you could get a lot of issues with your code and with your submission. We want to print this. And so I'm going to copy that straight from here. Control-C will copy. And I'm going to go to my code. And I'm going to paste it here. Now there's a few things that I need to do here. First, I need to put this within double quotes. Now I'm thinking to myself, okay, this number, I don't want, oh, okay, well, let's try this out. Let's try it. I'm gonna leave it like this, and you'll see that it's not quite what we want, but let's try it out. Okay, so please enter a word cat. Okay, now for that one, it works fine. You see, it works. Number one, you entered cat. Okay, and then I'm gonna type Iwana, but it's still printed number one, you entered cat. When it should have printed, it should have incremented this to 2, and instead of cat, it should have put Iwana, and then zebra, and once again, it prints the same thing, and then dolphin, and once again, this hasn't changed, and then I'm going to put stop, which is good. That stops. Now there's one thing here that I'm missing. After you stop your program, you're supposed to print this. All done, 4 words entered. And so I don't have that. And let me show you where that goes, because it does make a difference where you put it. Because I only want to print this once. I only want to print it once at the very end. So all done, 4 words entered. Just once. Notice how I'm printing this multiple times. Please enter a word. Please enter a word. And so please enter a word. And this is also printed multiple times. It changes, but it's printed multiple times. It's the same format. And so these two are in the loop, while this, which only gets printed once at the very end, should not be inside my loop. And so I'm gonna, after the if statement, I'm gonna backspace, and now I'm not in the if statement, but I'm still in the loop, and so I need to do backspace again to exit the loop. And right here I'm gonna print. Actually, I suggest that when you're working these out, that you copy and paste as much as you can. So highlight this, Control C will copy, and then Control V will paste. And the reason I suggest that you do this is because you avoid missing a period, or you avoid missing a colon, and that can give you a wrong answer when it's actually practically almost right. Okay, so there's a few things that I want to do here. I don't want to always print the number 1. What I want to do is I want to print the value of count, because count is going to be increasing. Every time you enter a word that is not stop, you're going to increase count by 1. And so instead of putting here 1, I'm going to say print the pound symbol plus count plus a colon, and then you entered and cat. Oh, I forgot a plus here. So count is going to be 1, and then count is going to be 2, and so this is going to be changing every time. You're looping, you're running these lines of code repeatedly. Now, I don't always want to print cat, and so notice how it's always printing cat right here. I don't want that. Instead, I want to print whatever the word that the user entered. I want to print that, and so I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to erase this. Now I want to leave this. I want to leave that space. If I go if I erase the space, entered and cat are going to be stuck together, and then I'm going to put plus word. And then I also see count, whatever count is, well, it's going to count all the words that are not stop. So at the very end, I want to say terminate the string, and then plus count plus words entered. And so understand that count is a variable, it has a value, and whatever that value is what's going to be printed here. So is word. Word is going to be cat, and then Iwana, and then zebra, so on and so forth. Now, let me run this and try to see if this is working. So I'm going to put cat. I get an error, and it says you cannot concatenate a string with an integer. That means that I cannot, concatenate means like put together. I cannot add this, which is a string. Think of a string like a word or a sentence or a phrase. And how do you know that it's a string? Because it's within double quotes. And it's also purple, look. All of these are purple. So I cannot add a string to this variable, because this variable is a number. That's what int means. If I scroll here a little bit to the right, that's what they mean by int. Count is a number. and I cannot add words with numbers, strings with integers. And so we need to do what we call typecasting. We do that often in all kinds of programming languages. And what we do is we're going to say, okay, whatever that number is, I want to change it to a string. And so I'm going to send it to this function called str. And then I'm going to send it here, str, because I need to do it anywhere where I have, when I'm trying to add, that's a plus, I'm trying to add a word or a phrase with a number, because count is a number, it's 0, 1, so I need to make it a string. By doing this, I've made count a string so that now they're compatible, that you can add them. Now let me run this and test it. Enter a word, the next word, so cat. Okay, now you see there's still number 1 in cat. Good, now it should say number 2. When I put iguana, it should say number 2 and then iguana. So I'm going to put iguana. And that changes. Good. Now because I'm printing count. Count is right here. It's now 2. And I'm printing whatever word is. And the word is iguana because that's what this does. This right here stores what the user enters into the variable word. Okay, let's continue. Zebra. Okay, number 3 in zebra. That's good. And then finally, dolphin. Okay, good. And now I should do stop, all caps, and understand that right here, I'm gonna when I enter the next word, it's gonna be stop. I'm gonna store stop in this word, and it's gonna say, it's gonna check this condition. If word is not equal to stop, do these 2 lines of code, but right here, word is equal to stop. So we're not going to do this. We're not going to increase count. We're not going to print this. And then we're going to loop back to line 4. And it's going to say, is word not equal to stop? And the answer is false. Word now does equal stop. And so we don't do anything within. We go straight to line 12. And so this is a looping mechanism. You ask for a word. If the word does not stop, increase my count, print, and then go back. And to say, okay, well, the word is not stop. Ask for another word. If the word is not stop, increase count, print, and then loop back. And so that's what we're doing. I'll press enter, and it says all done, 4 words entered. Now, notice that this is an exact match. And when I say exact, I mean like word for word, space for space, colon where it's supposed to be, a period where it's there it's supposed to be. If I don't have it exactly as what they have here, then my code is not going to be correct. Meaning, suppose that you misspell entered, or you forgot the period, or you forget a space right there, then your answer is going to be wrong. And that's why I suggest that you start by copying this and pasting straight from here. Okay, I'm going to run it. I don't believe I did finish running this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy all this. I'm going to highlight, and then Control-C will copy. And I'm going to go to adhesive. And right here in the solve, just paste it right here. So I'll do Control-V, we'll paste, and then run it. And you should get either an accepted, wrong answer, or some compilation error message. And you see I got accepted, which means that I'm done. You can click here for more details, and it tells you about how it's being tested. What you want to see here is ones. If you see zeros, that means something went wrong. And then you see your score is 100 at the very end. This is, again, the test scenarios that they're using. And that's why it's important that you have an exact match, that you spell everything the exact same way, that you place a colon where a colon is expected. And if you don't, then you're not going to get an exact match. I hope this video helps. I encourage you to keep asking for help if you need help. I had quite a few students asking me about this, and I noticed that there was quite a few students that were not getting the correct answer, and so I figure a video is probably the best way to go. But I think if you reach out to me, I think that goes a long way and lets me know that you might be having some issues with your code.